think you went too far. If you pass Citibank, you have to turn back, and you'll see a signature leather on the way back. Signature leather. You'll pass Adventureland on the way back. Adventureland is like a big amusement park with a big wheel. Okay, but you pass Citibank, right? Oh, so you've gone too far already. You'll have to turn back. After Citibank, you will see another place called Signature Leather. Immediately after Signature Leather, you have to take a right turn. That is Ruland Road. Yeah, and then from there it's very simple. It's the second right. After the Costco, it's the very first right. Okay, Haribol.
Your security guards are somewhat brain-dead.
I called him half an hour just before everyone came. I told him, I'm expecting a bunch of people. He said, okay, no problem, I'll let them in. These guys are...
What's your name?
Yeah, they call for ID and everything.
Yeah, ID. Well, then my wife gave me the wrong name, so...
Beautiful, Maharaj.
It's just kind of like the high road. Like Prabhupada said, all land is God's land, all creatures are God's creatures, and therefore anyone should be able to go anywhere. Yes. Now, here are practical realities. One practical reality is that presently in America there's a democratic government. And I think that reliable studies will show all around the world that in democratic regimes, the more you have an educated electorate, the more you actually have something resembling democracy, and the more you have an uneducated public, the more you have corruption and sort of like a farce, just like a thin veneer of democracy, when actually it's just corruption and all that. Even in America, if you look at different states, different congressional districts, you'll find, and this is in the Federalist Papers, it's not like, this is a big surprise. James Madison talks about this in the Federalist Papers. Everyone's always known that the people that founded the country were actually among the most educated people in the world at that time. John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, the so-called Puritans, the people that came over to America, many of them were very highly... So the whole principle of democracy was that first of all, people can be educated. People in general, therefore they started public universities, which was kind of a new thing in the world. That people in general can be educated, and people in general can be raised to a level where they can actually make informed decisions, and people should have the power to control government because they're qualified to do it. They can be educated. Now, in practice, we know there are parts of the world where the people haven't got a clue as to what's happening, and the political process is a farce. They don't know what they're voting for. They're easily manipulated. There's widespread corruption, and so on and so forth. So now, in immigration, if you, let's say, some of the people backing open immigration policies are business people who just want cheap labor. And so therefore, they're saying, yeah, let people in illegally and just somehow legalize them. And, they may trot out all these sort of very noble arguments about giving people a chance and blah, blah. What they really just want is cheap labor so they can make a profit. So now, if you get large numbers of uneducated people, and people actually are not so much inclined to education, and even in NPR, they were talking about this in California, California NPR, how a lot of people coming in, let's say, from south of the border in California, there are people who in their own country of origin are considered to be low class. are uneducated, are not so much inclined to education. When you get large numbers of, so it's not about, for example, Latinos. It's not about should we let in Latinos. It's about letting in large numbers of people who chronically tend not to be so much into education, and what does that do to the political process when you have large numbers of people? So in a democracy, like probably would make statements like, let them come in and just engage them, but as if America were a monarchy. But it's not a monarchy. It's not that you let people in a monarchy. You let people in and just tell them, okay, you do this, you do that, you go to Nebraska and harvest corn or something. It's not like that in America. And so therefore, how do you protect the integrity of the political system and let in large numbers of uneducated people? That's just one question. So now from a devotee point of view, okay, we have this noble principle, all land is God's land, all creatures are God's creatures, hence all people have a right to be in any land. So you have that simple moral equation, but how does it play out in terms of practical social and political realities? So from the point of view, so in other words, like for as devotees going beyond doctrine, like this is our doctrine, this is quote unquote the philosophy, that this the philosophy, and yet, how would we really deal with the world? By the way, I mean, there was a time, if you look at Islamic history, when they were doing a little better, I think, culturally. And as Islam started to expand, let's say about 1,000 years ago or 1,100 years ago, and they started to take over countries, and suddenly they had this problem. They wanted to be faithful to the Quran, they wanted to do everything according to their scriptures, but the Quran did not give a system of laws. Like, how do you govern a country according to the Quran when the Quran